Well, hello everyone. This is Ron, and I'm back with you with another episode of Empire Coins and Collectibles. I hope this episode finds everyone doing well, healthy, happy, and of course, out there looking, because we know if you're not looking, you're not finding. And I have been looking. I bought a few collections, I bought some small lots, and I wanted to share some things that were of interest to me in my searching, the things that I found. But before we go there, if you could please like, share, and subscribe. So I'm always looking through coin collections that I buy, and some of them are small, some of them are a bit larger, but there's one particular coin that in the past didn't get a whole lot of love, but absolutely recently, within the last few years, people have been storming out looking for these coins, looking for the rarities that people had begun to find. And of course, the coin I'm talking about is the Bicentennial quarter, the US Bicentennial quarter. So I'm going to change my camera view here right quick. We're going to go to the tray and let you see what I'm seeing. Okay, I'm going to turn the light on, maybe get a better view of them. So I in this collection that I bought, there were many of these coins, probably 10, 15 of them. So while I was looking through these coins, I was looking for some very rare ones that have been found, the doubled dies. So now I'm going to share my screen with you. We're going to go look at BCGS's website. And here are two. These are the 1976D versions of the double dies. This is the FS101 and the FS102. But just look at this. So we're looking here at 725, 825, 1150. This is the price guide. 1800, 3250. We're looking at some pretty good money here, aren't we? We're also looking down at the FS102, and it's not as expensive as the FS101. And we're going to take a little look at it, at both of them, and determine why that is. So let's look at the first one, FS101 first. So I'm going to go ahead and blow this one up so that we can get a good look at it. Then I'm going to bring the magnifier in that they have built into the website. And we're going to look at Liberty. There's something there on the L, maybe something peeking out on the lower, on the lower left-hand side of the I. The B, kind of, maybe, but not really interesting. But look at this E. You can see pronounced doubling on the left-hand edge of the E, and the tips are doubled at the top and bottom of the E. That is fairly pronounced. And look at the R. I love the R. You can see one R laid on top of the other R. So because of how pronounced this is, and the rarity of finding these jewels, these things have become a favorite to look for and collect. Now, naturally, anytime I buy the coin collections, I'm going to be looking for the doubling on Liberty. And we can look down here at the date, 1776 to 1976. I do love that double date. Not a lot of interesting things there going on, but certainly that Liberty that's been doubled is the catch. It really is. I'm going to move it over and we'll take another look at the reverse, and we'll look at United States. Not anything going on right there that we can see, but it's just a gorgeous coin, and it has this unique feature. It is a doubled die, and that doubled die is right around, pronounced more so around the E and the R. So this kicked off a kind of like a 49ers rush. I'm not talking about the football team, I'm talking about the gold rush. People began going out buying lots of quarters looking for this jewel. Let's go to the other one now. And you'll begin to see why the other one is not as expensive. So we're going to click on this one. And it's a double die obverse, FS102. We're going to look at the obverse. We'll use the magnifier. Nothing really there. kind of storming around the coin. And let's look at his hair. Maybe some doubling right in here. Looks like it. That's kind of interesting, but still nothing. There's a little bit of maybe dye deterioration on the top part of the N. I don't think that's doubling. Look at something peeking out above the upper right of the O and the W. Again, 1776, but perhaps maybe up in the hair as well. But still, this is interesting. It's not as interesting as the FS101. Now, the only reason why I'm sharing that with you is just to spark your interest and to let you know that these are still found out in pocket change. It is the Bicentennial quarter. Now, it's in recognition of our 200th year as a separate country from Great Britain. And it has the drummer. And a lot of the errors that you will find will be around the drum, grease errors, die cracks, things of that nature. And the doubling would be in the letters on the obverse. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this one and look at the error I found when I inspected this. And it says die crack on the base of Washington. So I'm going to go ahead and change cameras. We're going to go to the coin microscope, and then we'll put that under the coin microscope. Oops, got to remove that one and put this one under coin microscope. And look at that die crack. Pretty pronounced, isn't it? Let me see if I can get it in focus a little bit better. Now, one would have to say that if it's a die crack, it becomes a variety. And yeah, it's an error that they continued using it. But the reason why I'd say it's a variety is that when the die fails, they may not catch it immediately, and it may produce a large number of coins. Not large in terms of the total mintage, but several coins would go through it before they discover it. And they will either discard it or try to repair it. In any case, once it begins to fail, things like this does happen. So because there's a number of these that may have this type of die crack, it becomes more of a variety, at least to my way of thinking, simply because it's in the working die. So what do you think? Is it interesting enough to maintain? There's a good view of it. Look at that die crack. I don't know. There's something about die cracks that really is attractive to me. Let's go around the rest of the coin, just in case I missed something. If you guys see something that you think I missed, leave a comment down below and let me know. The hair is not really pronounced. It's seen some wear. And we're looking up in here to see if it's a double die. Unfortunately, no doubling. Too bad. That's a little bit of copper oxide or copper rust right there. That's unfortunate. Okay, let's go to the other side right quick and kind of tour around the coin there. United States. Not seeing anything here. America. And I think this is just the sculpting, but might be a little bit of machine doubling on that R right there. Might be. I don't think it's a double die. It is interesting now that I look at it. If you look here at the bottom, it looks like that tip of the R is doubled, but that's a mirage. The reason why I'd say that's a mirage is the tip of that R always runs into and is connected to the A. So I think that's just part of the design. Let's look a little closer. I'm going to turn this around. And we'll look here. Move the light around. Yeah, that's nothing really of note. So we're going to go on around the coin. Kind of interesting, isn't it? See if we can get this back in focus a little better. and take the glaring light off of it. So that's the first coin. It's that die crack on the base of Washington. All right, this next coin is going to be doubling on 76 on the obverse. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at that right quick. And we'll see if we can just see it. Now look at that 6. That is pretty interesting, isn't it? We'll get some more light on it. Don't want to obliterate it. But you can kind of see some doubling on that 6 and looks like a little bit of doubling on the 7. Now you can really see it well there. So what is that? Is that machine doubling or is that something more? I don't think it's machine doubling, but it's hard to say. What do you think? So this is another one that I found in my coin searches. Of that, I bought that collection, went through the Bicentennial quarters, and came out with these oddities. Now that's what collectors do. Collectors go out and interrogate the coin to see if there's something more the coin's trying to tell them. Now look at this 6 on 1976. You can certainly see that it's distorted and distended, so there's like some doubling underneath it. Let's see if I get some more light on it. Be interested to hear what you think about that. Is that a double die or is that more machine doubling? I don't think it's machine doubling. So the 270s, oh, look at the 7 there now. That 7 is very thick. So I'm thinking that perhaps, given that this right here, this feature right here, and this feature over on the other, on the 6, and then if we move to the right, this feature right in here, could be die deterioration in this area, but this certainly looks like doubling right here. What do you think? Is it a double die or is it machine doubling? I don't think it's a machine doubling. But in any case, give me your opinion. Let's move on to the last one. Now, the last one, it is a grease error on the R of quarter. So let's see if we can see that. Look at that. Let's go to the R on dollar. You can see that R is pretty pronounced. Not hard to see at all. Is it in focus? Okay. Get a little more light on it. There we go. That R is not obliterated in any form or shape. And notice, as I said earlier, on the other quarter, you'll always see the R that runs into the A. So that's not an error or variety. It's part of the coin. But when we come over here to this R, that R is not detailed. The lower part of the serif is gone. That lower right leg pretty much is gone on that R. So what type of error is it? It's a grease error. Now, what happens when you have a grease error? Grease is on the surface of the planchet. The anvil die comes down and strikes the planchet, and it impresses the image on the working die onto the planchet. But since that grease is there, that metal is not free to flow up into the recesses of the working die. Now, remember, the recesses of the working die create the high places, ridges, and things of that nature on the planchet itself. Because that grease fills that recess, the metal is not free to flow up into it. But it's an interesting variety. Now, another thing that you often see is if you look at this around the drum, you'll see that this grease errors often come out in this area right here, and that edge of the drum closest in the view of the drum to you is obliterated. Let's see if I can find an example of that. I have another one right quick. Let's see if this is it. I believe this is it right here. So if we go down and look at the drum, look at that front edge of the drum. It's not clear, and that's a grease error. If it were wear, it would be wear all the way around, including the ribs of the drum. But in this case, I believe it's a grease error. All right. let's go back to the main camera and we'll do the wrap up. I hope all of you have found that this is interesting. There are treasures out there with these bicentennial quarters, and all you have to do is go look for them. And I have a number of them that I've found that have something that is pronounced and different about the regular strike. So that stack right there is probably 7 coins that I found out of maybe 15 or 20 in the collection that I bought. So that's what you do. You go out there and hunt and you look and you search through pocket change. You might buy rolls of quarters and you look for these valuable coins. I hope that you will find an FS 101 or an FS 102. If you find an FS 101, you've struck gold. All right, my friends, that's all we have for you today. I hope you found it interesting. You take care of yourself. And please remember, if you're not out there looking, you're not finding. All the best.